Have you ever cracked open an $8 carton of specialty eggs over a hot frying pan on a Sunday morning, looked down at a pale, watery puddle with a lifeless yellow yolk that instantly collapsed across the non-stick surface, and wondered why it looks, behaves, and tastes exactly like the $3 budget carton sitting on the bottom shelf of your local supermarket? You grabbed that carton from the chilled dairy aisle at Woolworths or Coles because the packaging showed lush green paddocks under golden Australian sunshine, promised certified free-range freedom, and threw around words like humane, vegetarian-fed, and natural. You paid double because you believed you were making an ethical, health-conscious decision for your family. But the reality is that you have been systematically taken for a ride. By the time you finish watching this breakdown, you will find out what Australian egg corporations are legally permitted to hide behind their glossy cardboard packaging. I will show you how federal labelling standards were quietly diluted to protect industrial profits rather than bird welfare, and we will crack open independent laboratory testing from choice, ACCC investigation files, and nutritional analyses across 10 of Australia's biggest household brands. You will know exactly which certifications are self-invented marketing fictions, why the most expensive $9 carton in the organic section delivers virtually the identical fatty acid profile as a bargain basement caged egg, and most importantly, the two specific options in Australia that are genuinely worth your money. Stick around right to the end because the single most trusted, universally praised brand in the country is sitting at the very top of our worst offenders list. And the legal investigation behind it will permanently change how you look at your breakfast. To understand why supermarket eggs have turned into watery rubbish, you have to look at how an egg is actually made inside an animal. A hen is not a grain processing machine. She is a biological forager. When a chicken wanders outdoors on real, biodiverse pasture, she spends her day scratching through topsoil, eating live crickets, beetles, earthworms, clover, and seeds. That dynamic animal diet is precisely what creates a nutrient-dense egg. It packs the yolk with authentic lutein, zeaxanthin, fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and E, and crucial anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids like DHA and EPA. The yolk becomes dense, rich, standing tall in the pan with a deep amber hue. Industrial egg production operates on the exact opposite logic. If you cram tens of thousands of birds into massive enclosed sheds where they never see sunlight or touch a blade of grass, you keep them alive on cheap, dry feed mixes dominated by processed wheat, sorghum, and genetically modified soy. The bird is technically alive and churning out an egg every 26 hours, but the resulting egg is nutritionally hollow, watery, and pale. The industry knows consumers judge egg quality entirely on yolk appearance. So instead of letting hens outside to eat grass and bugs, massive corporate producers dump synthetic color additives or concentrated marigold extract into the dry feed trough to dye the yolk orange artificially. It is the agricultural equivalent of slapping a fresh coat of glossy red paint over a rusted-out engine block and selling it as a luxury sports car. They also rely heavily on legal sleight of hand. Under the Australian National Information Standard, an industrial facility can legally print the words free range on the carton while packing hens at a density of 10,000 birds per hectare. That is 1 square metre per bird outdoors, provided the shed has small pop holes along the wall that the vast majority of terrified, crowded hens will never even reach. The corporation meets the legal minimum, slaps a picture of a smiling cartoon hen on the carton, jacks the retail price up by 150%, and leaves you footing the bill for a total illusion. Let us look at the 10 biggest brands in the country to see who is pulling this off. Number 10. Woolworths and Coles cage-free own brand. This is the classic middle ground purchase for millions of Australians doing the weekly grocery run. You walk down the dairy aisle, bypass the absolute cheapest caged carton because you want to make an ethical choice, and spend an extra $1.50 on the supermarket private label cage-free carton. You assume the birds are roaming happily. Here is what cage-free means under national guidelines. The wire cage is gone, and that is where the improvements stop dead. The hens are crammed inside massive, enclosed, concrete industrial sheds, packed together at up to 15 birds per square metre. No natural sunlight, no fresh Australian air, no outdoor paddocks. Each bird gets an area barely larger than an A4 sheet of paper. Woolworths and Coles built massive trust across groceries and everyday essentials, but that trust was earned through discount logistics, not animal welfare. When you crack one into a hot skillet, the egg white is loose and watery, spreading thin across the metal, while the yolk is a dull, lifeless yellow. At $5.50 a dozen, or roughly 46 cents an egg, you are paying a 30% premium simply for the removal of the wire mesh, while the industrial confinement remains identical. A Choice consumer review summed it up neatly. Paying for cage-free in a supermarket-owned brand is paying for a clean conscience that the farming system never delivered. The cage was removed from the shed, but the factory remained entirely intact. Number 9. Farm Pride Vegetarian Fed. This brand sits on supermarket shelves looking like a conscious medical decision made on your behalf. Clean typography, bright imagery, and a massive claim across the front announcing that these hens are fed a pure, 100% vegetarian grain diet with zero animal byproducts. It sounds clean, modern, and virtuous. There is only one glaring biological problem. Chickens are not vegetarians. They are omnivorous foragers. When a hen is outside on natural Australian ground, she actively hunts grasshoppers, crickets, beetles, and earthworms. That animal protein is the biological origin of genuine egg nutrition, supplying bioavailable vitamin B12, essential amino acids, and balanced fatty acids. When you strip animal protein away and replace it with bulk industrial soy and grain mash, you do not get a cleaner product, you get a nutritionally depleted egg. Crack a Farm Pride vegetarian egg into a bowl and you will immediately notice the weak structural integrity. The yolk is flat, pale, and easily broken with the slightest touch. Selling a vegetarian diet for a bird that evolved to hunt bugs is a brilliant marketing spin designed to turn an unnatural, cheap grain feed into an expensive lifestyle feature. You are paying $6.80 a carton for a diet that starves the egg of the very micronutrients you bought it for. The label did a fantastic marketing job at the checkout, but the egg completely failed your body. Number 8. ALDI Lodge Farm and Essential Caged Eggs. No pastoral illustrations, no romantic farm origin stories, and no welfare badges. Just a plain carton sitting on the shelf at $3.80 a dozen. That is roughly 31 cents per egg, making it the cheapest animal protein in the Australian retail landscape. The reason the price is so low is because it relies on maximum legal industrial stocking density. Battery cages providing approximately 550 square centimeters of floor space per bird. That is less than a standard sheet of printing paper for an animal's entire productive life. If you are feeding a family on a tight weekly budget, buying these is not a moral failure. When inflation bites and everything else in the fridge costs double, the price tag makes the decision for you. What separates ALDI's entry-level carton from every other brand on this list is simple. It does not lie to your face. There is no fake illustration of rolling green hills in the Adelaide Hills or romantic rural homesteads that do not exist. It is a mass-produced commodity egg priced accordingly. It cooks flat, the yolk is artificially tinted with feed additives to mask the lack of foraging, and the white is thin. The carton is completely blank of marketing fluff because the truth would never sell a premium product. Number 7. The Good Farmer Free Range. Bright, cheerful packaging with vibrant cartoon hens and sunshine graphics that catch the eye of parents shopping for their kids. The name itself is the entire sales pitch, designed to bypass your critical thinking at the fridge door. But under the Australian National Information Standard, free range can legally mean up to 10,000 birds per hectare. In practical terms, that is thousands of birds packed into a vast shed where small ground-level exit flaps satisfy the legal definition of outdoor access. In commercial facilities of this scale, flock social dynamics mean that dominant birds block the openings, leaving the majority of hens to live their entire lives inside without ever stepping foot onto the dirt. Crack one open and look closely at the yolk. It has that uniform, pale pastel yellow hue that screams uniform industrial feeding. A veterinary audit on commercial free-range systems noted that nominal outdoor access without managed pasture rotation is virtually identical to intensive indoor housing in terms of bird stress and nutrient output. At $7.20 a carton, you are paying 60 cents an egg for cartoon packaging that conceals an intensive factory reality. If you are already itching to inspect the carton sitting in your fridge right now, make sure you hit subscribe because the marketing tactics only get more sophisticated from here. Number 6. Manning Valley Naturally. This brand has mastered the aesthetic of the Australian artisan producer. Earthy cardboard textures, elegant typography, and proud stamps declaring pasture-crafted quality from pristine regional New South Wales. It looks like an independent family operation that treats every hen like a beloved pet. However, Manning Valley operates at massive commercial distribution scale, supplying hundreds of supermarket locations across the country. Their certifications allow for standard industrial stocking rates, meaning that while outdoor access is provided, the sheer volume of birds on the ground quickly turns the immediate perimeter of the sheds into bare, compacted dirt rather than lush, forageable pasture. Run your fingers over the recycled carton and it feels undeniably premium, creating an immediate tactile sensation of quality before you even read the small print. You pay $7.80 a dozen for that feeling. But when you crack the egg into a frying pan, the yolk profile and albumin viscosity are virtually indistinguishable from mid-tier commercial offerings. As an agricultural analyst noted during food standard hearings, high-density free-range operations at commercial scale are designed to maximize throughput while maintaining the appearance of traditional farming. You paid top dollar for the rustic aesthetic, while the egg inside delivered standard commercial quality. Number 5. Macro Certified Organic by Woolworths. This carton sits proudly in the organic health food section, wrapped in crisp green branding and bearing official organic certification logos. It is the default choice for expectant mothers, health enthusiasts, and shoppers trying to avoid agricultural chemicals at any cost. You gladly pay $8.50 a carton because you assume organic means superior animal welfare and nutrient density. Here is the legal catch. Australian certified organic standards strictly regulate what goes into the bird's beak, ensuring the grain mash is grown without synthetic pesticides, chemical fertilizers, or genetic modification. But organic certification does not require regenerative pasture management, low-stress flock rotation, or an abundance of wild insect forage. A hen can live in high-density conditions on a restricted patch of bare dirt, eating organic wheat, and the egg qualifies for the certified organic seal. Independent lipid profile testing reveals that an organic grain-fed egg from a confined flock has virtually the same inflammatory omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of 15:1 as a budget conventional egg. You paid an astronomical premium to ensure the feed crop was sprayed differently, while the bird's biological lifestyle and the egg's actual fatty acid profile remained fundamentally unchanged. Number 4. Coles Omega-3 Enriched Free Range. This is the most technically engineered carton in the entire supermarket. Positioned directly at athletes, seniors, and cardiovascular patients whose doctors explicitly advise them to boost their daily intake of healthy omega-3 fats. The front panel proudly screams, "enriched with omega-3s." It feels like a functional superfood. Here is how that claim is manufactured. Commercial producers blend industrial flaxseed meal into the hen's dry grain feed. Flaxseed contains alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. While ALA is technically an omega-3, it is a plant-based form that the human body must convert into active EPA and DHA to provide cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory benefits. Peer-reviewed metabolic research confirms that the human conversion rate of ALA to usable DHA is under 10%. A single 50-gram forkful of canned sardines provides more bioavailable EPA and DHA than an entire week of consuming these expensive specialty eggs. At $8 a carton, you are paying a massive surcharge for a nutrient your body can barely metabolize. The manufacturer met the technical standard to print the health claim on the cardboard, while leaving out the biological fact that the human body simply cannot use it effectively. Number 3. Sunny Queen Farms Free Range. Sunny Queen is a genuine household icon, easily recognized across Australia by its cheerful, smiling egg character wearing sunglasses. Families have trusted this brand for decades, associating the bright yellow logo with wholesome, sun-drenched Queensland farms. That legacy was built through relentless television advertising and generational nostalgia. But Sunny Queen is an industrial egg giant. Their standard free-range operations rely on stocking densities of up to 10,000 birds per hectare, fully exploiting the watered-down national standard. That means the sunny paddock you imagine while looking at the carton is an industrial landscape housing tens of thousands of birds per shed. Crack a Sunny Queen egg next to an unbranded corner store egg and examine the albumin. The inner thick white breaks down rapidly and the yolk color is maintained entirely through feed formulation additives rather than authentic seasonal foraging. You are paying $7.50 a dozen to fund an advertising budget and a cartoon mascot that keeps you from asking how many birds are actually sharing that patch of dirt. Number 2. Pure Harvest / Eco Eggs Free Range. Positioned as the ultimate ethical and sustainable choice in the premium natural food aisle, carrying prominent welfare logos, carbon-neutral mentions, and claims of environmental stewardship. Shoppers who do extensive research and want to support ethical agriculture gravitate straight toward this carton, willingly paying over $9 a dozen. Yet when consumer advocates and agricultural auditors look past the environmental marketing, they find an industrial contract farming model. The brand contracts out production across various regional facilities operating at significant scale. The picturesque single farm on the marketing material is an idealized composite. Despite the lofty price tag, independent nutritional testing shows no meaningful elevation in fat-soluble vitamins A or D compared to mid-market competitors. A detailed choice investigation into commercial free-range claims revealed that premium eco-branding often charges consumers double for minor operational tweaks that produce zero measurable difference in the final product. You are paying for high-concept corporate sustainability reports, not a biologically superior food. Number 1. Pace Farm commercial tier and major supermarket premium pasture lines. For years, the commercial egg industry pushed premium pasture-raised lines into major supermarket chains at jaw-dropping price points reaching $9 to $11 per carton. They promised sweeping green paddocks, mobile trailers, and ultra-low stocking densities that supposedly justified the highest prices in Australian history. Then, regulatory scrutiny and ACCC investigations into misleading and deceptive conduct across major egg suppliers blew the lid off the commercial pasture sector. High-density industrial producers were caught marketing eggs under pastoral imagery and free-range branding when the birds rarely accessed outdoor ranges, or when outdoor ranges were barren, overcrowded dust bowls. Independent nutritional assays on these $11 cartons revealed that their omega-6 to omega-3 ratios, protein density, and lutein concentrations were virtually identical to standard $6 cartons. The ACCC has previously penalized major commercial egg operations hundreds of thousands of dollars for faking free-range conditions. You are paying nearly $1 per egg for an absolute fairy tale crafted by agricultural marketing agencies. The story was flawless. The egg was an industrial commodity. Right, here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. Now that you have seen the industrial tricks, the inflated stocking densities, and the marketing illusions lining major supermarket shelves, let us look at the producers in Australia who actually do things properly. These are the brands that run genuine open pasture operations, rotate their flocks across living green paddocks, and produce an egg that delivers real biological nourishment. Our first recommended option is Honest Eggs Company, which you can find across select independent grocers, Harris Farm markets, IGA stores, and boutique food outlets across Victoria, New South Wales, and the eastern seaboard. This operation was founded in Daylesford by regenerative farmers who were completely disgusted by the commercial dilution of free-range terminology. Their approach rejects the standard industrial model entirely. Instead of keeping tens of thousands of birds inside a static megashed surrounded by bare dirt, Honest Eggs Company runs an astonishingly low stocking density of just 30 hens per hectare. That is 30 birds per 10,000 square meters, compared to the legal standard of 10,000 birds per hectare. Their flocks live in custom mobile roosting sheds that are moved to fresh, lush grass every single week. Because the birds are continuously moving onto untouched ground, they forage constantly for wild crickets, beetles, clover, and seeds. When you crack one of these eggs into a hot cast iron pan, the physical difference is immediate and undeniable. The albumin is thick, firm, and holds its structure in a tight perimeter around the yolk instead of pooling into a watery mess. The yolk itself is a deep, glowing amber dome that stands tall and proud. It does not break when gently prodded with a spatula because the vitelline membrane is dense and elastic, built from genuine animal vitality rather than synthetic feed additives. The flavor is rich, savory, and naturally buttery. A carton of Honest Eggs Co. costs around $9.50 to $10.50 a dozen, which breaks down to roughly 85 cents per egg. That is undeniably more expensive than a basic supermarket carton, but you are not paying for glossy cardboard and corporate legal defense teams. You are paying for the physical land management, mobile infrastructure, and labor required to run genuine regenerative agriculture. As sustainable agriculture researcher Dr. Sarah Linfield pointed out, low-density pastured eggs from rotating flocks consistently test with significantly higher natural concentrations of vitamin D3 and an optimal omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratio below 4 to 1. If there is any downside, it is distribution. Because they refuse to scale up into an industrial mega operation, you will rarely find them on the shelf at your local suburban discount supermarket. This carton is the ideal choice for everyday home cooks and health-conscious families who want genuine pasture-raised quality with absolute transparency. Our top recommendation, however, takes you straight to the source: local community-supported agriculture farm shares and regional farmers markets. Across Australia, from the Sydney Morning Herald Growers Market and Melbourne's Farmers Markets to local weekend stalls across the Adelaide Hills and regional Queensland, you will find independent smallholders and certified pasture producers like Hilltop's Free Range and local CSA networks. These small-scale farms operate outside the supermarket duopoly entirely. They keep microflocks in open paddocks with stocking densities well under 150 birds per hectare, guarded by Maremma sheepdogs and rotated across chemical-free pastures. The farmer standing behind the wooden trestle table is the person who collected the eggs by hand 2 mornings ago. You can look them dead in the eye and ask how many birds they run per acre, what they feed their flock, and when the coops were last moved onto fresh grass. A genuine producer will answer instantly, with pride and precision. Crack a fresh local CSA egg, and the yolk color is breathtaking, deep sunset orange, packed with naturally occurring carotenoids derived from fresh green shoots and soil grubs. The yolk has a velvety, luscious texture and an earthy richness that elevates simple poached eggs on sourdough into a restaurant-grade dish. At regional stalls, these eggs typically sell between $8.50 and $10 a dozen, meaning you are paying virtually the exact same price as the deceptive supermarket premium brands, but 100% of your money directly supports authentic family farming and true ecological health. If you want the absolute pinnacle of nutrition, ethics, and flavor, skip the supermarket middleman entirely and buy your eggs from a local grower whose paddock you can drive past and see with your own eyes. Here are the 5 practical rules you should screenshot and keep on your phone before you set foot in the egg aisle of your local Woolworths, Coles, ALDI, or IGA again. Rule 1. Completely ignore the front panel marketing words like farm fresh, pure, all natural, and grain-fed, because none of those phrases carry any legally binding welfare or nutritional definition under Australian consumer law. Rule 2. Flip the carton over and look for the specific outdoor stocking density printed in tiny numbers on the back or side. If the carton does not explicitly state a density below 1,500 birds per hectare, or if it proudly quotes the national standard of 10,000 birds per hectare, put it back on the shelf immediately. Rule 3. Treat the vegetarian-fed claim as an immediate red flag rather than a health upgrade. Because hens starved of natural insect forage produce an egg with inferior fatty acid balance and lower bioavailable vitamin B1-2. Rule 4. Look for genuine, independent third-party certifications like Certified Organic Biodynamic or pasture-raised on open ranges with verified outdoor rotation, rather than corporate in-house seals designed by the brand's own marketing department. Rule 5. Whenever your weekly schedule allows, bypass the supermarket duopoly entirely and buy directly from an independent producer at your local weekend farmers market or a regional CSA box delivery service where you can verify the farm address on a map. The Australian egg industry was carefully engineered around a single commercial certainty that 90% of shoppers would never look past the front cover illustration of a smiling chicken and a green pasture. The massive supermarket suppliers realized years ago that they could charge you premium artisanal prices for factory-scale production simply by changing the cardboard packaging and hiding behind diluted legal loopholes. You do not need to be a victim of that system any longer. Once you stop paying for corporate storytelling and start demanding real stocking densities, the entire illusion falls apart. Thank you for watching this breakdown and respecting the time it takes to dig up the actual facts. Share this video with a friend or family member who still buys $8 supermarket cartons, believing they are helping happy hens in open fields. Which egg brand is sitting in your fridge right now? And did its yolk pass the real density test? Drop your brand and thoughts in the comments below, and check out our full investigation into Australian supermarket olive oil next. Real food never needs a fairy tale to justify its price.